Hey folks, Ray from DCRainmaker.com here. Today we've got the Suunto Spartan Wrist HR unboxing. Now first off, I will apologize, my voice sounds a bit wonky because I'm just battling a bit of a cold here. So we'll go ahead and get through this. Hopefully my voice will as well. So this is Suunto's first optical heart rate enabled watch. They announced it back at CES a couple months ago, and now they're just ready to ship in a couple weeks. And so basically today is the day they announce that they're ready to ship, and then on the 30th, 31st later on this month here, they will actually start shipping. So what I've got is the blue edition. There are a couple different colors. Now all of this is based on the Suunto Spartan lineup, and so there's both the Ultra and the Sport edition of that lineup, and then there is the Sport HR or Wrist HR edition. So there's not actually an optical version of the Ultra at this point in time. Not really clear if or when that'll happen, but hopefully they will down the road. So we'll go and crack this open right here. So open this up, there we go. Inside we will find the watch chilling right there. So we've got the watch, and then below that is going to be a couple small items. So we have a sticker, so you can go and stick that to your smaller siblings or whatever you want really. And then we have a warranty, so that tells you not to do stupid stuff, and if you do stupid stuff, then it's definitely 100% your fault when you kill your watch doing stupid stuff. It's also written in 29 languages, so you really can't blame them for not covering all the bases when it comes to languages. Next, you have the Wrist HR Quickstart guide, also in 29 languages. Each section takes up approximately 4 pages, including front and back, so 2 actual physical pages for each language. So it is definitely very quick. It's not a very deep guide. And then in here we have the power cord, so basically the charging cord. So this is a USB charging cord on one side and then a custom connector on the other. It's the exact same connector as the rest of the Suunto Spartan lineup, which means it's magnetic. It works pretty well. It's not bad. I've been using it for the last, I guess, year on the regular Spartan. And then we have the watch itself. So I'm going to crack this open. So you can see this is the blue edition. As I mentioned before, there are different colors out there, but there is only one series of them, and that's the sport-based one. And the main difference between the sport lineup and the ultra lineup, aside from battery life, is really that barometric altimeter. It's the fact that the ultra has a barometric altimeter, and this does not, has a GPS-based altimeter. So on the back here, you do see the optical sensor right there. That's provided by Valencell. Valencell basically makes kind of the base sensor and the algorithms behind it, and then they license it to various companies. So one of my favorite optical heart rate sensors out there is the Scosche Rhythm Plus. It's like an armband that goes up here, transmits dual AMP plus BLE. This is the exact same sensor as that. And then up here we have those charging contacts. So you can see this basically slides in place like that. And then it's reasonably stable. Like you can't like swing this around, it'll fly off. But in terms of just putting it on your bag and even using it like this, it's fine. So that's pretty much it when it comes to the unboxing. There's not a lot in here, which is fine. What I've got is a separate video if you want to look at sort of the features and the basics of this unit itself. You can check that out up there. The piece that I'm really interested though on this is the optical heart rate accuracy. And I'm going to do a third video, I guess, of that itself, focused on that and running and cycling and other sports to see how well it works. Now what's interesting here is this is the first time we've seen a mainstream fitness company like a Garmin or Polar or a Suunto put what I would consider to be one of the best sensors out there into a wearable. So a lot of the others have gone with their own custom sensors these days, but it's nice to see the Valencell sensor in here. Yet still there are ways that either companies or that is device design itself can make that sensor less accurate. For example, a bigger body tends to introduce more bounce, and when there's more bounce, then there's more light that gets in, there's more light that gets in. That means you have worse optical signal. And so those are all things I want to test and see whether or not this holds up to sort of the claim of being, potentially the best optical heart rate sensor watch out there. Okay, so let's compare some sizes. This video is all about size and weight comparison and the unboxing itself. And to do that, we have to get some watches out here and weigh them in and see how they look, to compare them side by side. So what I've got here is my handy dandy little scale. We're going to toss the Wrist HR on there first. That's coming in at 76 grams. So we'll just do a double check right there to make sure. Yep, 75 grams, 76 grams. So 76 grams it is. And next, let's compare it to the Suunto Spartan Ultra right here. That's coming in at 77 grams. Then we have here, this is the Sport edition of the same thing without the optical sensor. So this is the Suunto Spartan Sport, and that is 71 grams. So again, 71 for this. If you add the optical sensor, 75, 76 grams in that ballpark. So you're talking 4 to 5 grams additional for that, which isn't too bad at all. Next, we've got the Phoenix 5, this is the 5X. So I'm going to do the 5 first because it's a little bit smaller. The 5 right now comes in at 88 grams. So you're adding a little bit of weight there. You still have the optical sensor on the back. And then the 5X, the biggest of the three, comes in at 98 grams. I don't have the 5S right now, the smallest one handy at the moment, but that gives you kind of a feel for those. We then have Suunto's Traverse. This watch came out like a year and a half, 2 years ago now. So it's their sort of in between the Ambit series and the Spartan series watch, 77 grams. So the exact same as this watch right there. And then, or a little bit higher, I guess, so a gram or two. And then the Ambit 3, the good old Ambit 3, this is the peak right here at 87 grams. So you can see all these watches are in the same ballpark. They're very, very similar. If we look at sizing, for example, we'll start off with the Ambit 3 series here. Almost all these watches are the same when it comes to bezel size. In other words, across the face of the watch, from bezel, the side of the watch to the side of the watch, not the screen necessarily, but the whole watch. If we look at the widths of them, you'll see that I would say the Ambit 3 is a touch bit bigger here across the bottom. This does have the optical sensor bump there, about 1 millimeter or so, but again, this has it across the entire length, so it's definitely a little bit bigger. We look at the Traverse, you'll see it's sort of the same story there as well, because these bodies are almost the same anyways. So same watch, you know, face size, or watch bezel size. The watch face is definitely bigger on the Spartan series. And then if we look at these here, for example, this is the Suunto Spartan Sport on this side and the Sport Wrist HR on this side. These are identical shells, identical bodies, so there's really not a lot of difference there. You'll notice on the back, because of that optical sensor bump, it does pop out just a tiny little bit, not very much, but you know, it's there. I don't think it's really going to bug anybody. And then the same on the Ultra here. If we look at this again, it does pop out a little bit. On the flip side, this is actually bigger because of the fact it's got more battery there and more bulk. So this is still a bigger watch. Last but not least, looking at the Phoenix 5 comparison on the front. This one I would say is a tiny bit smaller right here. Maybe this is the regular 5 than this. And then if we look at it this way, you'll see that the Phoenix 5 is definitely, sorry, the strap's out of the way there, definitely smaller than the Wrist HR. Now that I see it this way as well, you can kind of see if I put them side by side that this sticks out a couple of millimeters, which is fine. It's just a bigger watch. That's why they've got the 5X if folks want the bigger watch that really matches this in size across the bezel. And then we look at this again here, and it's pretty similar. It's a little bit deeper on this one, but it's still thinner than the Suunto is because the optical sensor bump doesn't quite stick out as much. So there you go. That's just a quick look at the sizing and weight comparison of the Suunto Spartan Sport Wrist HR, longest watch name out there. I will have separate videos on accuracy this and kind of general use, but you can see my first sort of intro and overview and hands-on video up there on this itself right now already, so you kind of want to understand what the picture is. There are some more stuff coming for this down the road. For example, interval workouts is coming here in 2 weeks to this, which is pretty cool. It's something that wasn't previously announced. We're seeing that across the entire Spartan lineup, so that's pretty great. But again, stay tuned. Don't forget to whack that like button down below as well as the subscribe button. That way you get all the latest sports technology goodness as soon as something comes out. Have a good one.